You are being brought closer to who you really are. You will have emotions from your past that returns. Not the same emotions, but you'll feel connected. There will be a different perspective from where you are now. You'll have new experiences with your own energy. The old timeline is the version of you that existed within certain patterns, understandings, and emotional responses. The new timeline is a version of you that is beginning to respond differently, to move through experiences with a different level of awareness. You may find yourself questioning things that you thought were already resolved. You may have memories within your understanding, seeing details you didn't notice before, interpreting them in a way that aligns with who you are now. This creates internal contradiction, as if your past and present perspectives don't fully agree with each other. But this is part of the integration process. It allows you to see how much has changed, how your perception has evolved, how your understanding has deepened. The new may feel uncertain and creates hesitation. Even if the old no longer fully aligns, it still carries a sense of familiarity, an emotional memory that feels stable because it's known. Moving away from that gradually feels like losing something, even when you're gaining something else in the process. Have patience. The shift from one way of being to another doesn't happen right away. It unfolds over time through experience, reflection, and repeated awareness. You will notice subtle changes in how you respond. Situations that once triggered a certain reaction may now feel different because your perspective within it has shifted. You might pause when you once reacted, reflect and observe instead of immediately engage. This leads to the new way of experiencing. The old becomes part of your understanding. The new becomes more stable, natural, and something you're living. You feel more open, receptive, more willing to experience emotion. You may be less guarded in certain moments. You're allowing yourself to feel something without immediately questioning it or trying to control its outcome. There's space for connection, understanding, for emotions to exist. It might seem slightly unsettling. You may wonder if you're becoming too vulnerable, too exposed, and too open to something that is not fully clear yet. If you allow yourself to observe, you will notice that this openness is leading you into a different kind of awareness, which is more fluid, more responsive, and more aligned with how you actually feel. It changes how you experience connection and how you're more present with the experience itself. You listen more deeply, notice more subtle shifts in energy, and respond in ways that feel more natural. Connection feels less forced, less dependent on expectation, and more rooted in the moment as it unfolds. It's about integrating that openness into who you are now with all the awareness you've gained along the way. This openness becomes part of your natural way of being. You no longer question it into the same way. You no longer need to pull back from it as quickly. Instead, you begin to trust it, to recognize that this openness is something that allows you to experience life more fully and more authentically. You understand that the heart doesn't need to be forced open or protected at all costs. It responds to your awareness, which is grounded, present, and aligned with your truth. Then the openness is something to move with, something to experience, something that becomes part of how you navigate everything that comes next. Certain experiences and connections are not random. You may feel drawn to someone or something with a quiet certainty that doesn't require explanation. It's a steady pull that remains even when you try to focus elsewhere. It creates a sense that you're moving through something meaningful, that holds weight beyond what can be easily understood. You begin to allow things to unfold with a little more openness, and when it settles, it brings a sense of calm. There's a shift on how you understand yourself, how you relate to others, how you interpret emotional experiences. One thing becomes clearer than before is your ability to trust what you feel, not blindly or without reflection, but with a deep sense of confidence in your own perception. This brings you back to yourself, your connection to your own awareness. You no longer look outward for every answer. You are actively, continuously creating your reality through your thoughts, words, and internal narratives. Most people are unconsciously creating limitations, struggles, and stagnation because their subconscious is running old, fearful programming. You're generating your life. Every word you speak, every story you retell yourself, every label you attach to your identity, that's all actively constructing your material reality. You have access to the most powerful reality power that you've had all year. You can't manifest from a place of delusion, spiritual bypassing, or ego fantasy. There must be deep psychological honesty. Be extremely conscious of your internal dialogue. If you articulate a vision that is aligned, then you're encoding that reality into existence. Claim total authority over your own narrative by naming what you've been avoiding, by articulating your real desire without shame or apology, by speaking the truth that's been hidden in your shadow. You integrate the fragmented parts of your psyche and magnetize your highest timeline. You have the power to speak truth into being. How you think determines how you can see. Then it determines what's possible. Then this determines what you create. You will have a quiet, internal knowing and clarity. The truth just arrives. False masks need to come off. Mental patterns need to die. And authentic power needs to be claimed and spoken into reality. Stop running from limited ways of thinking and step into who you really are and what you're really here to do.